Hey guys, I'm Reverend Jeff Will Rumble, and you knew that. So I've been asked to maybe show you video of some of the results of my rock hounding trips and the cab cutting and all of that. So that's what I thought I'd do today. I've been to a lot of different places, but the one that is kind of been my favorite, where I've spent a lot of time, is Sleeping Beauty Mountain. It's the ancient volcano at the south end of the Cady mountain range in California's Mojave Desert. And it has been very good to the rock hounding community. Not only are there various agates and jaspers and minerals all around the mountain itself, but it also is the source ultimately of, I believe, this is what I've been told, all of the jasper that's over at Lavick Siding. So yeah, Sleeping Beauty Mountain, good place. The particular wash where I've spent the most time is at the southwest corner of the volcano. And I've mentioned in one video, I'll say again, used to be we were allowed to drive way up in there. That's been closed. The Bureau of Land Management, BLM, has closed it. There is now a sign at the mouth of that wash that says closed. And that doesn't mean people don't still drive up there. Some do, maybe a bunch, I'm not sure. It's been quite a while now since I've been there. I was there last spring, I guess. But it is closed, so if you're going to drive up there, then you're going to be driving past a closure sign that was put there based on California law. So so there's that. Now I'll show you a map here in just a second of the places that I've been up there, where the old parking area was, and which is the place where I would park, was just about maybe, I don't know, 75 yards or so shy of about as far as you could possibly go. I parked right at the place, at the spot where the wash makes a hard right turn, and would then go on foot several different directions from there. So on the map you'll see a reference to Gold Moss area. That's a hill that is from that old parking spot that is kind of to the right or to the east, and then the hill is on the right, and it's a Gold Moss. It's a spot that many rock clubs have visited in their trips. I've seen clubs out there. Then for my favorite spot, a place that I call Reverend Jeff's Hill of Goodness, because I found good things there. So yeah, that's more from the old parking area. That's more straight north, I guess. Well, no, not straight north. It's north, and then again a right turn takes you off toward the east. And then there are also some other areas. There's another wash that sort of branches off just 100 yards or so out south of the parking area, and back in there's some other things. So, and I'll show you all of that. I'll show you all of the different things that I've found. So yeah, let's go look at some rocks. So let's start with the Gold Moss. This is how it comes out of the ground, and I hope that I can get the color in here. You know, I'm just out in the backyard with the sunlight, and the sunlight clouds today are kind of in and out. But as you can see, it is a moss pattern in there. That sort of druzy surface goes away the moment you start polishing, of course. But it is a gold moss. It's also got some red in it, and what it produces over here, see if we can get this a little bit close up. It's such a thick pattern that it's almost like a jasper, but it's nice. It's all right. And there is also some jasper in the area that is a similar color, and this really is more of a jasper, kind of a brecciated jasper look. But that is the gold moss area. Continuing further, going in the direction toward Reverend Jeff's Hill of Goodness, there's a stop along the way where the path kind of goes between a couple little walls through a gully, and down in there, in my videos you've seen me pausing to dig at the walls. Down in there, in that gully, there are veins of stuff, and it's hard to get anything out of the veins at this point because they've been worked quite a bit. But as you can see, it's a red, green, white with little bits of yellow. It's really a neat pattern and color, and I really do like it. I wish that there was more of the material available. I also found in that spot, I believe this is from that spot, more of a flame pattern, that moss. I wish it didn't have this spot here that's greenish, but it's got some whitish inclusions that it ends up looking out of place. I've thought about maybe cutting this down to get rid of that, but anytime I do, do I cut it and lose this lighter color? That contrast is a part of what makes the piece work. So so I'm not sure what I'll do with this. In any event, moving on up to Reverend Jeff's Hill of Goodness is a one spot where I have found a material that I just think is wonderful. The original day I climbed up the hill and I kept seeing what I thought would be hints of interesting stuff, but nothing that really I wanted to keep until I got to the top. Or just shy of the top, and I was about to just bail on the hill and move off to the right to exit and go back down, until I glanced left and saw this just sitting out on the ground. And as you can see, it's the red, the white, the black. It just had such interesting combination and pattern to it. Obviously, this material here is not anything usable, but there's so much in there that is. And I found that, and then with it, I found this here. Well, I found actually another half a dozen total chips that turns out fit like a puzzle right in there. And so so it had, I don't know if it had fallen or maybe been hit by someone who was looking, but different spots around it. So in any event, that is what I found right up near the top of the hill. And I later, on a subsequent trip, discovered the vein that this had come from. And so I went back again and again to dig into that vein, and it was a hole, basically. And so as you can see then, you've got this piece here, you've got this piece here, which does a good job of showing the red and the white that even becomes a blue or a lavender at times, depending on where exactly you are. This is the last piece that I got out of there. Even has a little bit of yellow in there, but I chipped it just to make sure that I was getting the right stuff, and sure enough, what a nice blue black color there with the red contrast. So so what I've done then, this piece here is was actually made from the chip that was right next door to this. So it's got the great pattern to it, the great color and contrast. And this, I guess, I look at this and I think, that should maybe turn into a bolo tie someday. I can't recall ever in my life a time that I've worn a bolo tie, but it just seems like that's the kind of thing that it would be used for. Here's another similar piece. I love the lavender red combo there. The chip that came out of this has produced this, a little more of a freeform shape, not quite the shield shape, but similar size, and I love the contrast and color there too. A lot of smaller pieces, and really this material has produced such variety. I took a little, almost leftover little bit, and you may have watched the video on that, almost a leftover little bit, and cut it into this, and that can be a pendant, it can be a ring, you know, the purple of it with the red. Similar, this was a much larger piece which was accidentally dropped on a hard floor and it broke, and so I just took the largest leftover bit and cut it down, and that can be a ring or a pendant as well. See the nice contrast in this teardrop. And this is when I do a teardrop like this, that's all free form. That's not off of a stencil or pattern or anything like that. Most of the ovals are ovals and circles, most of them. But as you can see, this material just has such a variety in patterns and shapes. You know, here this you can see is more of a swirly moss. It's even got some almost a magenta, purplish, down raspberry maybe, down toward the bottom of that one. But here it's more of a blotchy, almost floral looking pattern on that one. This looks like it could be a, I don't know, stormy looking with a pale yellow here. That's nice. Here too. So that's that material. I really love this material. I think that's makes for just beautiful beautiful color patterns, beautiful contrast, just nice scenes to it. So yeah, I like that. I don't know what I should call it really. It's not really a jasper. Light does come through, especially in the whiter areas. Those whiter areas also glow up green under shortwave UV. So, but is it agate? Is it? I stopped by the Diamond Pacific there in Barstow and showed it to Don Depew, and he just called it an agate. I asked at the rock club that I go to, and excuse me, one of the gals there said immediately, "Oh, that's from the Southern Cadys." So she recognized the nature of the material, but when I dug in there and saw the spot and all, I don't know that anyone other than me has ever dug there. And all of this, and this is not nearly all of it, but all of this stuff, it all came out of a single vein, maybe 3 feet by 3 feet at most, probably smaller than that. But also on that hill, on the way up, I've found a number of other things. There's, I got a couple pieces of a chalcedony that is almost a peachy tone to it. This stuff, I've found a number of pieces of this stuff, which cut. At first, I thought, okay, let's see if I can cut the orange pattern out of it, and I did get one piece where I could do that. It's got, I'm not sure if you can see in there, the little, it's almost like a bubbly, plumy stuff down inside. But grinding through this stuff and cutting through it, it's such a hard material. I then thought, maybe if I just polish it up as is, and sure enough, just polishing it up as is. I don't even know what color you'd call this. Is it pink? Is it, I don't know. I'm not one of those who knows those details, but it kind of makes for some nice pattern and neat looking thing too. I'm sure maybe someone out there would love to have that and wear it. I don't know who that person is, but that's okay. I sure find it fascinating and beautiful. Also, on that hill, there are pieces of a basic chalcedony agate. And this really is an agate. You can see it's got sort of a spider web banding in there. but clearish with a faint light blue tone to it. Now, if you really want to get this stuff, you go further out to the east beyond Reverend Jeff's Hill of Goodness, and the next major hill has a lot more of the straight bluish looking agate, and a lot of that has, you know, druzy pockets in it and that sort of thing, almost like a chalcedony rose pattern to it, but more pockety, I think. Also on that hill I found this here, which had some red and orange jasper and agate and that kind of pattern, but also, if you can see kind of the glint in there, there's a whole lot of salamoline in this, which does a couple of things. One, it does give a little bit of that metallic look when it's polished up. This one also, I think that's prettier, but maybe not as weird. But it's got a lot of the salamoline in it too. So it gives that metallic look. It also is a real mess to try and polish this stuff, because it's almost like a liquid rust that comes out of it and gets all over your hands, all over everywhere, and makes for a lot of cleanup. But all of this has come out of that same, everything here and here has all come off of that same little hill. Pretty steep hill, a whole lot of talus stuff as you get up toward the top, but off of that same hill. Whoops, forgot to mention, I also found this interesting botryoidal stuff, a fair amount of it up and down, and especially up toward the top of Reverend Jeff's Hill of Goodness. So that's pretty fun. I don't know what, if anything, I could do with it in terms of lapidary, but this one maybe could possibly turn into something, be cut into a shape, and then in any event, that's pretty fun stuff. I like it. Other areas, like I mentioned that the other wash that kind of broke off maybe 100 yards or so south of the old parking area. Up in there, I found a spot that gave me this sort of green and gold. That's more of a plume in there, that gave me that. Also, that produced this, which is, I think, pretty neat. These couple of pieces, I might have another couple more of that in there to cut up. So up in that wash, this material, and this is, I'll finish with this. To be honest, I'm not remembering where I found this or this in particular. I mean, this is much more mossy looking. Unfortunately, these light spots here, those are spots where the material is softer and doesn't polish up as easily. It makes, you know, almost like little bubbles in it. So not sure what to do with that, because I don't know that they can go away just by cutting down deeper into the material. But on one occasion, all the way out near where the wash breaks off of the main graded road, the place where you should park if you're now going to park and walk all the way up in there, I found this just sitting in the sand of that wash. And this is, you know, obviously, that's bigger than a golf ball, maybe a golf ball and a half, golf ball and a quarter, I don't know, whatever. But it is solid moss with the red, gold, green that is the same pattern as this. So someday this little gem is going to get cut open, and we'll see if I can find areas in it that are clean enough to cut and get some cabs out of it. I think so. I hope so. I can't imagine that it's all filled with bad spots, but it could be. We'll see. You never really know until you try it and work it and find what you find. But that's it. Those are results from Sleeping Beauty Mountain. My results, the things that I've done. I, again, love this stuff. It is such a favorite of mine, in part just because I found it without a whole lot of direction from anyone else, so there's, you know, a sense of, I don't know, satisfaction in that. And in part just because I think it's so beautiful. So I hope that you're able to get out and have adventures too, and look forward to my next. Hope you'll join me for that video too.